Of late, the whole of ECOWAS, that's the West Africa Economic Zone or Economic Community of West African Zone countries, we've been so bothered about a common currency. This is something that ECOWAS wanted since inception around 1977. But somewhere around 2000-2001, ECOWAS was committed towards setting up an ECO, a zone where we will have monetary convergence, i.e., meaning the whole of West Africa having a common currency. Well, ECOWAS set up two institutions to make sure this materialized. One of them was the West Africa Monetary Institute, and that should have been providing capacity and research. And the other one was WAMZ, West Africa Monetary Zone. And eventually, the West Africa Monetary Zone should have established the central bank, which will handle the monetary management of the currency called the ECO. Well, for an ECO to take foot or take note in this part of Africa called West Africa, we need primary and secondary convergence. It means that the different economies at some point need to have a convergence so that there will be parity as it relates to the value of money. This starts with our budgets, our deficits, our inflation. So now, from 2001-2002 to date, West Africa, particularly English West Africa, have been grappled with the issue of meeting the convergence criteria. And in the past, few countries there and then met the criteria for a year or so. But the commitment, as it relates to political commitment, hasn't been there for all the countries within the zone to keep within the convergence framework. What does that mean? It simply implies that the political leadership in Africa lack the will to relinquish part of their economic sovereignty to the zone called West African Monetary Zone. Hence the reason why the ECO couldn't launch from 2001 to date. Two of the biggest countries that should be spearheading this, and that is Nigeria and Ghana, are way left behind because the political commitment and leadership hasn't been there. But the other part of West Africa, that is French West Africa, they deviated from the dreams and aspirations of ECOWAS since the beginning. Meaning, when ECOWAS was set up, we all wanted to have a common market. But France, being a colonialist that wanted a strong foothold within its former colonial subjects or countries, i.e. the Malis, the Senegal, the Burkina, helped set up what you call the UMEAO zone, Union Monétaire Économique l'Afrique de l'Ouest, UMA. This zone created what we call the CFA zone. The CFA zone for the longest has been backed by France. And that's why the CFA was pegged to the French franc. Time come, time pass, and the European Union decided to have a common currency called the euro. And France became a member of the Eurozone. And in so doing, the French backing of the CFA was no longer unilateral, but depending on the whims and caprices of the zone as a whole, driven by Germany, because Germany was one of the biggest economies within the zone. And these countries wanted France to wean off its former colonial countries to make sure that France will not back the CFA. Well, the euro has been around for over 16, going 17 years, and the time has come for the euro to stop the backing of the CFA. So the news we've been seeing of late showing a fast track towards the realization of the ECO is nothing but a politically expedient move by French West Africa to make sure that they have something reliable, something permanent, and something that will be to scale to make sure that their economies remain stable. And that is to have a currency called the ECO. Well, for months now we've been hearing ECOWAS talking about the ECO. But what we don't know is that ECO was to be driven by English-speaking Africa, West Africa, to have a zone, and after that zone we will see how to merge with the French-speaking West Africa. But now the drivers of this process are the people within the CFA zone, mainly Senegal. So what are we going to do? Well, if we listen to politicians, all is well, but all is not well. Because the CFA zone, literally, they are ready for convergence because they have what it takes. They belong to a monetary zone. Their convergence criteria are met because they have streamlined their economies based on the primary and secondary criteria set for their economies. So that's not the problem. The problem is English-speaking West Africa harmonizing their economies to get along and get into the ECO and join their French counterparts. While France is in a little bit of a turmoil as it relates to backing the currency. So we know that that will soon be a thing of the past because the European Central Bank, who manages the euro, really wants France to get off pegging or accepting the backing of the CFA. So now the CFA will now become ECO, and the ECO will now have what you call an exchange rate mechanism, otherwise called an ERM, with the ECO, with the euro, sorry. What does that mean? It means the euro will be the foundation that will back the ECO. And that backing is nothing but a peg. They're not backing based on their reserves. They're allowing us to use a unit of account called the ECO to be backed against a unit of account called the euro. This will now imply that one ECO, the new currency that we have, will be equivalent to X amount of euros. Then that becomes a reference point. That's the only thing the euro is doing for us. But on a broader note, West Africa needs to come together and have a common currency. But who is going to take charge of this? Because we know Nigeria are not interested outside of the rhetoric. We know that Ghana are not interested outside of the rhetoric. And all the other countries are not willing and ready to relinquish economic sovereignty to the West African monetary zone, without which the ECO will be another topic of discussion for another 2 decades. Yes, it's been almost 19 years since we talked about the ECO. And we now see a boost of wanting the ECO. But there is one thing, wanting something. There is another thing, being ready to have what you want. So West Africans, the ECOWAS, we need to be serious about our common monetary union. We need to be serious about economic integration. We need to be serious about streamlining our economies across borders to make sure that this bloc called ECOWAS is no longer a utopian idea, but a realistic idea that will house over 250 going to 300 million inhabitants. We can be a powerhouse, provided we know the value we have. We can be a force to be reckoned with, provided we know the powers we have. We are talking about a continental free trade area. I think it's long overdue, but it's not our primary preoccupation at this point, and it's not our primary priority. Our primary priority is to open up our borders, is to open up our economies as a sub-region in Africa called ECOWAS is to integrate our regional economy called ECOWAS, not only to have a common currency, but to open up our trade routes, reduce the bureaucracy and the trade bottlenecks we happen to encounter on a daily basis. Well, until I come your way next time, this was D, just elaborating a little bit on the echo that we want and the lack of political will, leadership, and vision by the very people who lead us. And just this past weekend, they were in Abuja on a Heads of State summit and giving out another declaration that will lack the will to make it a reality. Thank you and so long.